Hillary Clinton, 3 words or fewer.
Experience and knowledge.
I would say experienced and caring.
Hillary Clinton.
Probably win.
Still impressive.
If you had a family situation and you could call any of those 3 Democrats for help, which one would you call and why?
Hillary. She seems like the most genuinely concerned.
She's a mom.
Yeah.
She's well connected as well.
She's such an accomplished female leader who, in the face of defeat, has continued to persevere.
She has seen how the system works, so she might have a better chance of getting things accomplished quicker.
She can skip over any learning curve whatsoever.
Here we are, a woman stepping into a predominantly male arena, and I think she felt like she had to hold her own with them instead of just being who she is. And I think she's doing that now.
I think my opinion is it's a little more general, just in that she speaks articulately about her positions without having that edge and that scorned kind of woman thing. That's a little off-putting.
Just talk a little bit more about that.
I think that can put off a lot of male voters.
All right, well, John Heilemann is joining me now on the results of that. John, look, it affirms what we know, right, which is people are very confident about her experience, but it's still the likability factor. That's her Achilles heel.
Yeah, I mean, look, she's still, there's no one who doubts her resume. No one doubts that, given all the things she's done, from being a first lady to a U.S. senator to being Secretary of State, that she's qualified for the job, which is a huge thing. I mean, getting over the basic bar of can you imagine this person sitting in the Oval Office? That's a big thing for any presidential candidate. At the same time, she's still not. There's still reservations, and they're mostly related not to issues, and as we said, not to resume, but mostly a little bit about relatability. Right. The Iowa group that I did was a little bit more favorable towards her. The New Hampshire group had some mark at the end of that. After that clip that we had showed, there was a little bit of a skirmish that broke out among his focus group about some of her personal qualities and characteristics, where people who had been kind of holding back kind of suddenly weighed in a slightly more negative way. Right. It's just. She's still got to do some stuff to close that sale.
Exactly. Okay, and someone who's not helping is Bernie Sanders. So how do they feel about Bernie Sanders?
It was an extraordinary thing, I think, in both groups. These were undecided voters. So these were not people who were committed to Clinton, committed to Sanders, committed to anyone. Democrats who hadn't decided. And across the board in Iowa, across the board in New Hampshire, there was a lot of positive feeling for Bernie Sanders, a lot of positive feeling for his issue positions. A lot of these voters couldn't name any specific things that Hillary Clinton was proposing, but they all know what Bernie Sanders is for. They all know that he's a socialist. They don't mind that he's a socialist. They think that that's great. It's not part of the corporate Democratic establishment. It's caring about working people. It's trying to stick it to people at big banks, trying to stick it to rich people. They're all for that. Most of them in New Hampshire, they said he's going to win the New Hampshire primary. In Iowa, many of them think he's going to win the Iowa caucuses, and all of them could have kind of imagined the idea of Bernie Sanders in the White House. Even though some of them think he might have a hard time in a general election, they could still sort of imagine him sitting there.
Interesting.